Assalamu alaikum. So today I am going to be talking about earning halal money versus keeping halal money. Now, what I mean by that is, people can earn money through online businesses, through your job, through, whatever sort of other means. But then once you have that money, how do you keep that money? How do you help that money grow? Because you can't just keep working and working and working. At some stage you want to be able to kind of retire and then kind of live off your earnings. So generally, from what I know, is keeping halal money can be harder than actually earning it. So I'll go into the lessons that I've kind of learned over the years and things that I've read about. And for those that are new here, welcome to Simple Muslim Money, which is all about simple halal investing and personal finance for Muslims. So just a quick disclaimer, this is not investment advice. I'm not a investment advice person. So, this is just my opinion for entertainment and information purposes. Now, all of this kind of came up from a podcast I saw with Stephen Bartlett. So Stephen Bartlett he's quite sort of famous in the UK. He was on the show Dragon's Den, which is equivalent to like Shark Tank in the US and Australia as well. I believe it's called Shark Tank. And basically it's about, he had Damon Dash from this. So he's doing really well, actually. He's got getting some really, really big guests. And so he had Damon Dash, which is he with Jay-Z set up the record label in America and stuff. He's done like a whole other sort of businesses, Kanye West and stuff like that, worked with those sort of people. Now, so that's not the bit I'm interested in, but the bit I was interested in, he was talking about earning money versus keeping money. So, which we could definitely apply in Muslim terms, which is earning halal money versus how do you keep that halal money. And he was talking about how, it's actually can be harder keeping that money. And a really good thing I want to talk about is you hear about these rich sports people or celebrities that earn a lot of money and then suddenly they go, broke. I heard about someone that apparently made like $50 million. They bought like a big mansion and, were enjoying life and stuff, but then ended up going broke. Why is that? Why did that happen? Now, this person probably, this is just what I'm assuming was, had his $15 million, but then had no other money sort of coming in. So it was really about thinking, how can they put that $50 million to good use? But what happened was they bought this mansion. Now, when you buy a mansion, there's lots of taxes involved. There's lots of costs. I can imagine a mansion takes a lot of money to look after. You might have a swimming pool to clean just to keep the whole house clean, the energy bills, just the maintenance, just like buying furniture and things like that. All of that kind of adds up. So you can't just earn money and then, stop earning suddenly if you don't have a good plan for your money. So, most of us earn money through salary or online business or something like that. So, there's lots of information there about earning money online and, doing some sort of e-commerce, affiliate link, whatever it is you want to do. Even this podcast, for example, I'm hoping I can, bring some sponsorships and things like that in there, like in the future, if it does well, hopefully, inshallah. So with the support of everyone. But, once that money is coming in for whoever it may be, from a salary, through, this podcast, or if someone's making money through affiliate incomes and stuff like that, what happens next and what do you do with that money to make sure you kind of keep that money? So, definitely you're going to need money for everyday kind of use. So your food and things like that, paying for your housing. If you have kids, you've got to pay for things for them as well. However, it's also important to do a few other things, which is like, one, definitely is build up an emergency fund. If something happens, you never know, you could be made redundant. You could kind of lose a job. That's happened to me before. And, but fortunately, I had some money saved up, so I was kind of okay. And also I've got like a good package as well, but still you need to kind of figure out how to keep that money kind of working for you, or some other emergency happens, like you have a problem with your car and then you need to get a new car, which is exactly what happened to me. We had a car that had like a issue, just kept having issue after issue after issue. And, we just decided to kind of sell that car. The mechanic as well told us to sell it. It's no point paying money to continually fix it. So we just kind of got rid of that car, and now we ended up buying a new car. And then we didn't want to get something just for the short term because it would have cost us longer. So we just got like a Tart car that can hopefully sort of last for a long time. So we just kind of recently got that, So having emergency fund is probably the most important thing to do. I'd probably say before even investing as well, is just to make sure you've got some money kind of saved up. Trying to have about 6 to 12 months is what I like to have. But then, if you are earning money, then it's about investing. Investing is super important. If you're investing money, then you're kind of losing value as well. One, because you're paying for things, you're paying for course. So in the case of that person that had that mansion, that had to pay for things to run that mansion, and eventually the money would just run out. But how, if you're investing your money, then that money's kind of working for you. And I know it sounds scary, and there is definitely fear and anxiety around that, especially if people haven't done that before. So it's very important to kind of just something that I talk about in a previous video, which is about building that investing habit, like just invest like $10 a month, just to understand what investing feels like and what it means. And then as you start to earn more and more money, then that investing becomes sort of a lot easier. But investing for me generally is, from what I've learned, especially from the financial independent retire early community, is in index funds. And there are Islamic index funds out there. So I kind of talk about this all the time, pretty much in every video I talk about Islamic index funds. So I'd probably aim to have about 90% of my income in the index fund for the next, however, 10 years, I'd probably say at least. And then, there's something called the 4% rule that can kick in. So hopefully, inshallah, that money kind of builds and it kind of builds and compounds and stuff like that. And then at some stage, once I have enough, and enough is a interesting question, because, enough to cover my expenses for a year. So via this 4% rule, which I kind of talk about, so 4% of my investments can cover all my expenses, which basically means that if I just need my investments to grow by 4% every year, and that covers the cost of everything. And then it could do that for the rest of my life. It will just keep making 4% generally. That's like a good conservative thing to think about. Potentially, more than likely, it will make more than that every year, my investment. So if I have $500,000, $1 million, whatever it is invested, I have no idea at the moment what it is. I need to kind of check. But yeah, then if I get to a stage where I can retire, then I'm ready to go. I can retire knowing that I'll be getting at least, on average, I would say about 4% a year, which will cover all my expenses. And, I could potentially kind of stop working. So yeah, definitely that's a really important thing to do. And again, like by not investing, you still are kind of, doing something with your money, which is like leaving a bank account. It's just kind of losing money all the time. I'm sure a lot of you heard that, where like leaving money in a bank or account or just any sort of account, it's just losing money. It's not doing anything. But then I always thought, okay, so it's not doing anything. What do I do next? And it was very hard to get a clear answer with that. And I've learned over the course of the year, index funds are a really good thing to get into. Another thing is with index funds is, the price does go up and down. In the long term, it will kind of trend towards up. An absolute emergency, if you did need to pull out money, it's very liquid. You could just pull the money out quickly. So you might pull it out in a bit of a dip, but you do have that option there if you did need to pull that money out. But where possible, it's kind of best just to leave that money and kind of almost forget about it, which I kind of spoke about in my last video. Don't check it really, just leave it in there, just kind of do that. So yeah, and by not investing money, you're kind of losing, tens, hundreds of thousands of pounds. Yeah, just because it's not growing. Your money's not growing, and the longer time is what you need on your side. And what's something that come up and that people may think about, well, hang on, Iqbal, I've invested all this money, and then if I come to retire and the markets crash, what do I do then? And that is a very good question. So, as you start getting older, and this is something I would say a lot of people, if you're quite young as well, or even if you're in your 30s or potentially like in your 40s and you don't have much of an investment sort of saved up, even if you do, don't worry about this too much. I would just say just continue to save, just keep building up your money. Try and have most of your money kind of in index funds, I would say, because, that's what I'm doing. I'm having, because I want that growth at the stage. I'm still at a growth stage. And, I believe that index funds are the best thing to do. And then later on, I'm talking about maybe in my 50s, I'm slowly looking to transition that. So that only, some of it is in Islamic bonds. I think they're called sukuk. So it gives me a fixed rate of return. And it's not as, I can then kind of have that little bit of security, because and slowly I don't want to have all my money in the stock market. That's something I'll talk about in the future. I would say the most thing is just get started investing, and that's really important thing to do if you want to kind of keep money and earn money as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I really appreciate a like. If you just smash that like button, if you're listening to this via a podcast platform, then please follow me. I would really appreciate that. And I hope to catch you next time. Assalamu alaikum.